Good afternoon and welcome to the second episode of the Red Shirt podcast. On today's show, we'll be talking about the Chelsea game. We'll be talking about Paul Pogba's new contract talks with United. And also the big derby preview, where we know Manchester is always red.
Come on!
My name's Vernon Piver and his name is
Nigel Williams, and welcome to the Red Shirt podcast.
Okay, Nigel, if you just give a brief introduction to our followers of, why we're doing this and how we're enjoying it.
Thanks, Vernon. And, first thing, we are just completely blown away by the sheer amount of people that have watched our first video. It's blown our wildest expectations. So thank you all of those who've watched and given some great comments and feedback. So when you and I first talked about this, we watched all of the other fan podcasts, and we love them all and we support them all. And we just thought it'd be really interesting just to do one from an Old Trafford perspective. We both grew up in Old Trafford, so the name is iconic and synonymous with Manchester United, obviously. But we just wanted to also, in addition to speaking about our football club, also introduce some of the amazing characters that have grown up in Old Trafford, and maybe to give some insight into the life that we had as kids growing up in Old Trafford, under the iconic United stadium.
I mean, a lot of people obviously, associate the ground, the stadium, the team with Old Trafford, but they don't know the area, do they?
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, what we would like to do is take this opportunity to say a big thank you to all our subscribers. Thank you for sharing, liking, and subscribing. And also, I'd like to say a big hello to our followers in Eswatini, formerly Swaziland. I'd like to say to you guys, Sabwana and Neil Pilajani. I hope I got that right, guys. I hope I got that right. And also to people in Cameroon, a big shout out to you guys. Merci beaucoup for following us. Fantastic. Anybody else, Nigel?
Oh, what? No. All the I'm blowing today, mate.
No, don't worry. Let's go into the very first topic, Nigel.
Let's do it.
Sunday, big clash against Chelsea, Stamford Bridge. We went down there, and let's just get straight into it, Nigel. Give me a reason why that penalty wasn't given.
So it wasn't given because it wasn't given, because there were, in every game of football, there are variables. I keep saying this. The way I grew up playing football, some decisions that you're meant to get, some dead rubbish you're not going to get. So the variables are the variables. Okay, VAR's terrible. Everybody knows that. It's going to make silly mistakes. It's supposed to cut out all of the mistakes. It just seems to be one controversy after the next. So that's VAR. So everybody's living with that same system. Now, the reality is we are Manchester United, and I think sometimes we just forget that this is not a new thing. Back in the day, we'd have decisions go against us, but we've got to find a way to win. We don't feel sorry for ourselves. We find a way to win. And again, we're coming back to that same issue again, which is, what was that? That was just the most despicable performance. Where was the drive? Where was the ambition to win this game, to grab this game? It was there to be won. Absolutely there to be won. And we're still doing this nonsense of, it's more about Ollie being more afraid to lose than having the confidence to go and grab a game and win it. You can smell a victory. You can see that Chelsea, they're improving, but then they're there for the taking. It was a terrible game to watch.
I think at the time when we predicted on last week's podcast, I think I said that I'd go for the draw, didn't I? I think I
You did say that. You did say that.
And it was funny, really, because I wanted to bring up 2 points, the 2 points about the penalty. I don't know if you were aware about the comments that Chelsea had made in their official programme before the game, talking about 2 situations beforehand where they felt that they were denied penalties, and also Maguire should have been sent off at Old Trafford for last season for a kick out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other thing was obviously the comments that Luke Shaw made, where basically he kind of like aired on the side of asking about the credibility of the referee. Apparently, and we use the word apparently, he said to Maguire, I couldn't give it. I couldn't give it. Now, he felt that it would be too controversial.
That's right.
If he gave that decision.
Yeah.
Now, to me, it was strange because when I saw the incident at first, I've got to admit, I thought that Greenwood had handled it.
Yeah.
I thought that Greenwood had handled it. And me and my brother looked at each other and said, they're going to get a free kick. And then they told us about the review. And then I was like, how's he not giving it? I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, at the end of the day, if he feels he can't give it, he can't give it. But I'd like to bring you to the point. Do you think that Chelsea influenced the decision in his mind by planting those seeds in their program? And if they did, was it naughty?
You see, they've done a number on us. Absolutely, they've done a number on us, and we're now squealing like Kevin Keegan. This is not United. Okay, so they're playing a bit of mind games. Fergie was the master of mind games, so we know how this thing works. But why are we squealing like Kevin Keegan? There was more than enough opportunities to win that game. So yeah. You know what I mean? Yes, they've done a number on us. That's embarrassing.
I mean, from my point of view, I mean, I'd sort of like, I look, when I was watching the game, you had the Giroud chance with the header. And then I think you had the Ziyech chance, which I thought De Gea pulled off a really good save from it. But other than that, they offered nothing. It was a strange game because it was, I mean, Thomas Tuchel, who was obviously, you know, doing his cameo as Chelsea coach instead of being a baddie in Scooby-Doo and doing his trolley dash in the club shop. Yeah, he said afterwards that he thought that it was a really great game. Now, to me, I don't know about you, it was like a tactical game, wasn't it? Where they just wanted to cancel each other out. I think both managers at the end of the day, and I think what you said, and I totally agree with you, was that Ollie seems happy in these games to go with a point, which most of us would be, wouldn't it, if you're away from home? And we don't have a good record at the Bridge, do we?
Well, look at it this way: the first half, I mean, rather against what I predicted, he actually was quite defensive. I thought, oh, I didn't expect that. And then second half, he must have said at half time, hang on a minute, what are we afraid of? Let's get after him. So they came on to us second half, and which is great because then it gives us the opportunity to counter attack. But when did we become this counter attacking team? It's doing my head in. I don't know about you. But well,
I think the problem was because, like, you know, we've seen great teams. So under Fergie, we were everything. We were a great counter-attacking team. The amount of times we scored goals off corners. We were a very good team when it came to probing and putting the pressure on. Because under Fergie, we were always, you know, we would give a team an extra 5 yards to come onto us so that we could break, you know.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I got on Sunday's game was with Tuchel, he always plays 5 at the back and he plays with an offensive 5. Yeah. And I thought what Ollie did to counteract that really well is obviously the 3 guys up front.
Yeah.
So Greenwood, obviously Rashford, and James. Because I thought, even though James's attacking play, offensive play wasn't great, I thought his defensive work of putting them under pressure and having a tight squeeze worked really well. And then because they decided to play one up front, you had almost a square midfield, didn't you, with their fullbacks, you know, creating the width. And that's how it went. And the more the game went on, you just thought this is going to be a draw.
Yeah.
And then you had that moment right at the end when we broke at them, you know, all our labours, and it just needed a little bit of, you know, panache, didn't it? The last ball,
you know what? Yeah, I would just say it just needed concentration. We're on the break. Did you see the ball that was played out left, and it was just behind the player, and it gave Chelsea the opportunity to get back? That is what I am talking about. Why are we still doing that nonsense in 2021? And this team, there's enough about them to just seize that moment, to know that, okay, this is it. And everybody get the concentration levels up, play the right pass. We win that game. We go away, you know, with the 3 points.
I think for me, the problem was that because the move on the break was fantastic. Yeah. You know, the ball from front to back. And then we got all this space, and I thought, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then the ball came in. And to be honest with you, Nigel, the ball in was everything that epitomized the game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It just epitomized everything. And you just sort of like put your head in your hands and you just thought to yourself, we just that little bit of creativity in the middle where we're missing, you know. But from you know, even going back in the days gone by, we would have been happy to go to the bridge and get a point, wouldn't we? You know, we would have been more than happy. I think from my point of view, what I saw was just this tactical minefield where at times I struggled with it. You know, I just thought there was just no excitement at all, was there? Because we was almost playing without a striker, weren't we?
So what's happened when he first arrived? We were playing such expansive, expressive football that the shackles are being lifted, and the team were playing with a new passion. Now, of course, every new manager coming in brings that freshness to a team, let alone an ex-club legend who is great at one-on-one man management. But what has happened? Well, we know what's happened since then. Since then till now, the pressure's hit. He understands the fact that he is the manager of the biggest team on the planet, and of course that comes with grave responsibility. And we obviously know it's a winning game. You don't win your next on the block. I just don't understand. Well, I do understand, but it's come to a point now, hasn't it, Vern, where if he's now more afraid of losing than he is going to win a game, has his time come to an end?
Do you know what? Because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I think in some ways it's almost like a credit to him. You know, the way that we can break. I mean, if you go back to say the derby before Christmas, Pep wasn't exposing his team, was he, to the break? You know, people are saying, "Oh, these are bored. You know, these are bored draws." But what's happening is these big teams are coming there, and they're saying, "Right, we're not playing the expansive football that we usually play. We're gonna lie deep, and we'll see if we can get a sniff. You know, because we could get one chance in the game, but if we keep it tight and we make sure that we don't break on them, because I could see that Chelsea back line, and I mean, you could see the square of the midfield. The midfield was just square and it was rigid. And I think that's almost like a compliment. The guy that I think we've been missing over the last few weeks has been Paul Pogba.
Of course.
I really do. And I think, you know, it's been quite an interesting pivotal point, because it looks like now the noises coming out of Old Trafford is that they want to sit down and renegotiate his deal. Now, the question that I want to put to you, Nigel, is one, in the last 5 years, is he deserving of a new deal? Has Pogba's, you know, flirtations with other clubs, alienated him from the team, And thirdly, is it just a sign of the pandemic that he can't move and he's got to stay? So there's three questions there.
Yeah, of course. So let's take the last one first. Yeah, the pandemic's changed everything. In normal times, he was flirting, he would have gone. I said a few weeks ago, he's going, so let's just get used to life without him. But the reality is this pandemic has reset everything. So maybe he won't. Maybe he just simply can't afford to go anywhere else because nobody else has got any more money. So But over the last 5 years, I mean, make no mistake, Paul Pogba is one of the best midfielders in the world. He's an absolute worldie. Now, have we treated him like a worldie? Have we given him that respect? Now, a lot of fans will say, "Oh, you know, pull your socks up, you got to do it. You're putting the yards in, you know, with no prima donnas in his team." Actually, Eric Cantona was a prima donna. Eric Cantona didn't track back like we all think he did. When he lost the ball, he was allowed to not have to track back, because what he could do was more than enough. So you never saw him tracking back. If you watch old Eric Cantona videos, if he lost the ball, he might track back and foul somebody and get a yellow card. But tracking back was not his thing. He was there to beat Eric Cantona. And we've got the same quality of thing with Paul Pogba. And you know, and I'll argue that with anybody any day of the week. We've got an absolute diamond in Paul Pogba. We've not treated him right. We over the last Mourinho, like with all the players, you know, nearly killed him psychologically.
It's funny.
And I can understand why he would want. He wants to win things. I saw an interview with him not so long ago. And he goes, "I want to win. I'm a winner.
Well,
And
he's
when
won
I'm
everything,
surrounded
hasn't he?
by this, how am I? What am I
Yeah,
supposed to do when I'm surrounded?" And I think
yeah,
people don't seem to understand. He's grown up with a Manchester mentality. He used to knock about with the Ferdinands and the Scholes, and he was part of the team when it was brilliant. So he understands that Manchester United means winning things. That's why he came back, because he wants to win things.
well, I think also he came back because he was offered quite a good wage, but also going
Oh, that's
back
a
to
bit
what you were saying.
no, that's a bit cynical. He could go
No,
anywhere in the world. He could go
well,
anywhere in
that's
the
what
world, couldn't he?
Nigel. I've got to drop these bombs. But also, I think for me, when he came in, you see, when he first came, you had Ibrahim there, Zlatan.
Yeah,
So you had this like iconic guy that he was ready to take the team on himself
yeah,
by the on his his shoulders, and he wanted to be the iconic player, which took
yeah,
the pressure off him, which was good because Zlatan, a lot of Zlatan's sound bites are fantastic, and
yeah,
he lives for the pressure, he loves it,
yeah,
and I think that took it off there. And I think the problem was we wanted Paul Pogba to be the talisman, and I think you made a really good point there because the players around him weren't good enough. You'd watch games where he was drilling 30-yard balls into players' feet
yeah,
and they couldn't control it.
yeah,
Now, I think what's happened now is there's two things. There's a development of a very good team. So when I say development of a very good
yeah,
team, I mean, there are talks. The talks of him say he can't go to Barcelona because financially they haven't got the money.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. The other team is Real Madrid. Now, you could go to Real Madrid, but in actual fairness, that team's more in decline as
yeah,
United are actually levitating forwards.
yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I think their big one is Mbappe. And he's
Mhm.
also got to the age now where this is his last big contract. Now, the other thing that I would always like to put out, and I think me and you've debated this a few times, is when these cries from his agent came out. First of all, when he spoke about he wanted to leave and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They brought that interview came out, yeah, the day they played Leipzig, didn't they,
yeah,
away? Now, what a lot of people don't know was that interview was done 2 weeks before
hmm,
to the German press, and they dropped it on that day on purpose.
hmm,
Now, I was reading between the lines, and I'm looking at what Mino Raiola was saying.
yeah,
He was basically, there was a message to United: we want you to come to the table to renegotiate, because I think most people in the summer saw Van der Beek coming in and being the replacement.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think what's happened now is a few weeks ago, again, his brother said, oh, he could walk away for free. He
yeah,
could walk away. And I just saw it as a cry. I want to talk. I want to talk, because he could go to Paris. Yeah, PSG maybe. But I don't think League 1 is where he wants to be.
yeah,
So
yeah,
for me, I do. And I think over the last few weeks, I think his importance, in the team, because the thing is he'll get you a goal, which typifies, the goal that he got at Burnley away. He has that quality, or West Ham away,
yeah,
where on the gallop, he can hit one in from 25, 30 yards. And
yeah,
I think over the last few weeks, we've seen where the midfield, especially with McTominay and Fred,
yeah.
there's no creativity. They're workers and they're good. Yeah.
Just functional, aren't they?
Yeah. But
Exactly.
they're there for a specific reason.
Yeah,
Whereas like Pogba can beat three guys, put the ball through an eye of a needle,
yeah,
and you've got a goal,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know,
And I think, I mean, you make some great points, and I don't disagree with a lot of what you said. And I mean, we all would have felt really irritated by the comments from his agent, and then from his brother. And it's, every time he goes on international duty, there's always a comment. And so, but the world has changed. So yes, roll back a year, it was anchoring for a move. The world has
correct,
changed, and
correct.
pragmatism is now going to win the day. He may have to really sit down and think about, well,
Mm,
if I can't afford to move away, let's just get a bumper deal and stay here. And let's see if we can
mm,
make it work here. I get that. And
Yeah,
I understand that. I'm a bit of a pragmatist myself. I'm an older guy, so I see the fact that, you know, people's minds can be changed. And, you know, we sold him a dream, didn't we? We sold him a project, and that
yeah,
project never materialized. We had the best manager in the world, but like you say, Zlatan, the best striker in the world. We
yeah,
had
yeah,
everybody. We
yeah,
sold this dream of we're going to become Galacticos, we're going to become winners, and
yeah.
it's never materialized. So
Well, I think
I can't blame a guy. He's only got one career. He wants to try and
well,
win
well,
things.
well, exactly. You've got a lot of people don't realize you've got like 14, 15 years if you're
Yeah,
lucky at the top. Now, I mean, you're going back. I mean, I don't know. You know, we're talking about international duty, and you see, the thing is a lot of people don't realize that, or they forget when international duty comes up and the papers have got nothing to fill themselves
yeah,
with
yeah,
because there's no club football. They're
yeah,
looking for these soundbites, and then you know I kind of know how these work because what
yeah,
happens is they'll say to like, say for instance, if the you know like for instance to foreign players that come over here, they'll say to them, you know, which clubs would have you like to, you know, would you
yeah,
like to sign with? And you know, you'll always get, I've always, my dream's always to play with Manchester United.
yeah,
Now, and I think what happens in Europe is they're kind of like, you know, it's acknowledged and they see it and they think to themselves, well, he's never going to live Real for
mm,
Manchester. But I think like with that, sometimes we're very quick to sort of like jump on board and say, oh, he's flirting. And we don't realize that, you know, these guys are in mixed zones. It's a quick question. They
yeah,
say it. But at the same time, it's kind of like they're anchoring for more money for the club that they're on.
yeah.
You
Of
know,
course.
do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? You know?
we should go nowhere near Ramos. Because Ramos has
No,
played this game with us
exactly.
many a time. You know.
Well, exactly. And that's why he does it. Sunday is Derby Day.
Derby Day.
Derby Day. Now,
Derby Day.
the funniest thing is our friends from, you know, our friends from Beswick, Bradford, you know, they've obviously, we've got to be honest here. We've got to be honest. They're going to win the league, aren't they, Nigel? There's no
The,
point
the,
of us
yeah,
beating about them.
yeah. I mean that their current run of form is just it's just great, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
it's it's reminiscent of Liverpool last year. They just keep winning, they keep grinding out the results. I thought their last game against Wolves,
yeah, last night.
I thought, okay, here we go. This could get
Yeah.
tasty, and then no, they just turn it on and romp
I,
home in the end. You know,
the
so
thing, I mean, the thing that you know, made me laugh about that game was because it was 2-1 in the last couple of minutes. I
yeah,
just nipped, you know, like there was sort of like, you know, a takeaway come. Sorry,
yeah,
guys, bit of unhealthy eating, but a takeaway came. And as I was sorting it out, and I came back in, there was 2 goals that had
yeah,
been scored.
yeah,
So, but I think what we've got to realize is and I think what a lot of people have to realize is they've built up over the last, you know, 5 or 6 years, 10
yeah,
years, a phenomenal squad.
yeah,
Now, the other thing that you've got to take into account is how ruthless the manager is. And
right,
because he can be ruthless. So when he came into the club, Joe Hart wasn't good enough, got rid of
yeah,
him,
hmm
brought in Bravo. Yeah, he wasn't good enough, brought in Allison.
yeah,
Wasn't happy with his fullbacks, got rid of them.
yeah,
Yeah. The other thing is what we've got to understand is how many seasons it's got for him to come to this centre half pairing, and how many centre
yeah,
half are through. They play good football, and obviously they, you know, they play at the moment without a striker. I mean, they played Jesus last night,
yeah.
but they don't. How do you see the game going, Nigel?
Okay, so I mean, you make some great points there, but let me just take one of those points. So, is it John Stone, our defender?
Yeah, Stones.
Uh,
Yeah,
Stones. He was
yeah,
almost at the door.
correct.
Yeah, not long ago, and he's put his head down and said, "Look, I want to stay." And so the managers allowed him to prove himself, and now he's proven himself. That's great management. You talk about Solskjaer man management. This guy here is man management. He knows when he's not going to get a tune out of this player, and he just bends him off. Yeah, and he knows when he can see actually I might get a tune out of this player, and he keeps them and he cultivates them, and so it's no. This is not. It's not an accident. He knows exactly what he is doing.
Mm.
And
I think,
City,
yeah,
and don't forget, City have always been there or thereabouts for the last 10 years. So,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, there's a philosophy at the club. This new
yeah,
manager is taking it to the next level. So I remember asking you the question last week: if he was in charge of our boys, could he get more out of our boys? And I'm totally convinced he could. When you've got a world-class manager, that's what happens.
Well, you can just imagine it, can't you? Because like with Pep, everybody's a midfielder, in it. You know, he doesn't see centre halves. You know, his goalkeeper's a midfielder, in it. You know, he gets up in the morning and all he wants to do is coach, 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 coach. And he, you know, you see him like on the touchline and it's a performance, in it. You know, it's quite interesting, you know, to watch. I mean, I've got to say, and this isn't, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but because now I'm getting to the point of becoming like a machine, so I don't enjoy watching them, you know, as a neutral, because I love football, and it's not because the City. I got this way with Barcelona. You know, it just became ticky-tacky. It just became passing. You know, and they're a very good team. Now, from him, he's a great coach, and I think what you're saying is right. I think if he was at Old Trafford, because he has a philosophy of football and a culture that he comes from, that he would get the best out of the players, because he demands, doesn't he? He demands the very best. And I think what you've got with that sort of manager is the players know that they're going to win things. So they're going to go out for him, aren't they? They're going to work there, because you know yourself, you know, when you're not in the team, and a lot of people don't realize this about footballers, but when you're not in the team, there's that feeling that you're kind of hoping that somebody has a bad run of form or they get injured so that you can get in. And that's just the way it is. You know, we touched on it before. It's a very short but selfish career. But the thing that, I mean, what I do like about him is like his system. So for instance, you know, he will use Sterling very wide so that, you know, to pull the fullback out, to make the space for Gundogan, you know, to run in. How do you see it playing out on Sunday?
So on Sunday, I would, I mean, yes, what I always say, it's Derby Day. You know, all the rules go out the window. We know how they play, though they know how we play. Although on this occasion, I am very, very nervous, only because I think they've got the measure of us now. I think they have absolutely nothing to fear. So even the Derby Day, you know, idea, the fact that, you know, it could go either way, it's a derby, I don't think they give a hoot. They're going to come and they're going to play us off the park, and they're just going to, I think their intention is we're just going to bash them. And I think they're coming with that mentality. And I don't know how we even stop that. Not with this manager, and not with the players playing in the form they're playing. You know, everybody, they might get up for this game, but all it takes is for the first 5 minutes to go wrong, and Rashford's head's gone, Marshall's head's gone, Bruno's head's gone, because he doesn't like losing, and then before you know, we're in disarray. Normally I'd say it's a derby and anything can happen. I am very, very nervous.
But they've got to lose. I mean, I'm nervous because I'm always nervous going into derbies, and it's always that feeling of not wanting to go into work the next day after the result, or you're going in there, with the bragging rights, aren't you? Because you can go in there with that smirk on your face, that arrogance.
But we've given them no reason, Vernon, to worry about us.
Yeah, but that run's got to end sometime. That they're on, Nigel.
Yeah, that's what you sound like me. That's what I'd normally say, but I'm like
optimistic. I mean, for me,
not that day, not today. They're gonna go this derby day. We're having it.
And I tell you why, because unfortunately, before the pandemic hit us, the last game at the ground where fans could go in was the derby last year. And football is nothing without the fans, is it, Nigel?
Absolutely.
Football is
to go back. Yeah, exactly.
Can't wait to go back. And that feeling of, Marshall scored a really good goal. It was a set piece. They were asleep. And it was a real derby. There were tackles going in. It was physical. It was fast. The crowd were up for it. We had this, the atmosphere was super charged.
Yeah.
They'd miss, a chance right at the end where Jesus missed this chance where you thought it's in. When yourself, Nigel, when time stands still, I think it's going in that. And then the relief that it missed. And then right at the end where, Edison, he comes out, and he tries to clip to try and get him up the field, and he hits that ball into the net, and the ground just erupts, that passion. And I mean, I know I'm a bit embarrassed to say this, but for about 3 days afterwards, Nigel, I couldn't talk because I'd roared that much, you know. I was
Yeah,
screaming, and just
yeah,
that elation, you know, that elation because we've got football on at the moment, haven't we? But we're watching it without crowds, and there's
yeah,
like these muted celebrations, but
yeah,
it's not like being there, is it? You know, on Derby Day and getting up
yeah.
and reading the papers and your excitement, and you
This
know,
is true. And you know, um, I mean, these players get paid a fortune. I'm not going to go into that, but you just hope that within that dressing room, just what you've said there is conveyed to them. Look,
correct.
fans, we're still here. You know, let's just go out there and give a good account of ourselves. You know, it's City. Anything can happen on Derby Day, but you know, it but it's like the mastery that you just mentioned. Then you know, the fact that him
Yeah,
and
Bruno.
Fernandez had that telepathy last year. That's
Yeah,
not there this year. You know,
it,
it's not there.
well, football is funny.
Marshall's, you
Yeah,
know,
because I think the thing is with football. Football's we know when we play football, it's all about confidence, isn't it? It's all about, you know,
momentum and confidence. Yeah.
momentum. I mean, there are different types of players. Like it's like anything. It's like anybody. There are different type of characters in the world.
Mm.
Anyway, before we wrap it up,
Yep.
yeah, it's been a pleasure as usual, Nigel. But
Always, my friend.
let's have a prediction for Sunday.
My heart says 1-0. Scrappy goal. A VAR penalty.
Oh,
in
we got
the
one. We got one at Old Trafford, didn't we? But we
yeah,
ruled out for offside.
yeah, my heart says a VAR penalty in the 88th minute. But my head says we're gonna get battered.
You know what, Nigel? Sometimes in football, you get this like little sneaky feeling. It's like sometimes, you know, when I'm really nervous, I phone my dad and I'll say, "Dad, what do you think today?" Uh, and if he's optimistic, I know we're going to win. So I haven't phoned him up, by the way,
Mhm.
but I've got a feeling that we could do this. Actually, I think that
Okay.
I don't think we're going to get beaten. I
Yeah.
don't think we're going to get beaten. No, I don't.
Mm.
No, I don't actually.
But we're gonna find out how brave Ollie is. Is
Yeah.
Ollie more afraid of losing than he is of winning? So we'll see.
But at the end of the day, I suppose if you were to go to the Etihad
Yeah.
and you came back with a point, it's a good result, isn't it?
Oh my days. It's a good result for Wigan or or for Burnley, not for United, man.
No, no, no. I mean, even in the days where City was struggling and we used to go to Main Road, a victory is a good Derby Day. You know, I'm going for a draw. I'm going for a draw. You know,
Okay.
okay.
Right.
So, you know, Nigel. So that's it. We're coming to the end of another Red Shirt podcast. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure speaking to you again.
Always, my
Um,
friend.
you know, I suppose all we're going to have to do now is get our message out there for people to like, share, and subscribe.
You know the rest.
Okay,
All
Nigel.
right, mate.
Word out.
See you on the next
Word out.
one.
Yeah, take care, brother. Bye bye.